Hi, I'm Rachel, the CEO of Intrinio. One of our most popular products, which also happens to be our bread and butter, is fundamental stock data. This mission-critical foundational data is needed by most investors and can be a powerful addition to any investment app or platform. It can, however, be a little complicated. One thing we sometimes hear from our customers is that there is missing data. So if you've come across a missing piece of data, we made this video to clear it up for you. We are going to start from the top with some high-level concepts to help explain fundamental data discrepancies. No two fundamental data sets are alike, since every single data provider has their own way of cleaning up the data. This data has to be cleaned or standardized because no two companies file their financial statements in the same way. If the data isn't comparable across companies and time periods and standardized this way, it's nearly impossible to use. Okay, next we're going to talk about templates. Let's move to a level a little bit deeper. Companies in similar industries tend to file their financial statements in the same way, but the statements can vary drastically across industries. That's why most companies, including Intrinio, use templates for different industries. At the highest level, there is a template for financial companies and a template for industrial companies. This is primarily due to the fact that financial companies earn revenue very differently than industrial companies. So if you are seeing different or missing data, it may be because you are comparing a financial company to an industrial company. Okay, next we're going to talk about company size. The SEC gives publicly traded companies a lot of flexibility in what they file within their financial statements. The statements are filed in a programming language called XBRL, which is extensible, meaning accountants and filers are able to make up any data tag that they want. So oftentimes, smaller companies will file less data overall within their financial statements in order to save time and money. So if you are looking at a small company's data and there's some missing, this may be why. It just doesn't exist. Next, we'll talk about filing errors. Sometimes you'll notice data that just seems completely wrong. And more often than not, this is because the company actually filed the data incorrectly. Even large companies misfile data on a regular basis. Sometimes our team can fix this data, but sometimes it doesn't actually make sense to. Think about it this way. Arguably, everyone is looking at the wrong data, so it might be baked into analysis and prices already. This is a big gray area, but it's good to keep in mind that if the company itself might have filed the wrong data with the SEC. Now, companies can amend these filings and correct the data. Intrinio picks up those amended documents when they are published, and we do incorporate it into our data set. Next, we'll cover as reported versus standardized data. The last basic concept when it comes to fundamental data. Intrinio, like most providers, offers both as reported and standardized fundamental data feeds. The as reported data includes data tags exactly as the company has filed them using their own special style. Sometimes these data tags look as crazy as this. Yeah. This level of granularity can be valuable to some investors, which is why we offer it in our as reported data. But it's nearly impossible to compare across companies and time periods with it since none of it matches up. That's where standardized fundamental data comes in. We drop all the data tags into a standardized buckets. So for example, you can compare total revenue from two different companies. As you can imagine, looking at Apple's as reported data is very different from looking at its standardized data. So if you are looking for a very specific data point and you can't find it, it's worth checking out both of those endpoints. Okay. Now you have a basic understanding of fundamental data structure, which might clear up some of your questions about missing fundamental data. Now, we're going to dive into a couple of specific cases that we hear quite often from our customer base. First, there's missing data. It came back as null. Okay, let's be honest. Sometimes our team makes a mistake and we might be missing a data tag. This is a normal part of any data business where 100% data quality is literally impossible. However, most of the time that a data point comes back as null, it's because the company simply didn't report that tag. This is most common with ADRs, which stands for American Depository Receipt. These are foreign companies that file in the USA. These companies have different filing requirements, and they may only file once a year instead of quarterly. Next, the dates are not lining up correctly in the data. Okay, if you are looking at fundamental data and get confused by the dates, remember that not all fiscal years align with the calendar year. It is likely that as you start to look at different company fundamentals, you will see dates that are all over the place. This is normal. The data isn't incorrect. Next, I can't find trailing 12 months on the balance sheet. Intrinio TTM data is only found on the cash flow statement, the income statement, and is also available for various calculated data tags. So head to those places to look for it. Now, this may change in the future as we expand the data set, so stay tuned. Next, you are missing the Q4 filing. Fun fact, public companies don't file a Q4 filing. Their data from Q4 is wrapped up and included inside of their fiscal year document. So if you are looking specifically for Q4 data, there's a very simple calculation that will get it for you if you pull in the fiscal year data and subtract Q1, Q2, and Q3. This can be done programmatically as well. Next, the ADR I'm looking at is missing calculations. ADRs are foreign companies that trade in the US and therefore submit some filings to the SEC. Once again, though, most of these companies only file annually with the SEC, unlike US publicly traded companies who file quarterly. Because of this, ADRs will not have full calculations, trailing 12 months, year to date, or Q4 data. Next, price to earnings is coming back null. All right, 9 times out of 10, if you query our API asking for price to earnings and it comes back null, it's because it was negative. If it's negative, we will always return the data as null. Next, revenue is negative. It's always a surprise to see the revenue tag come back as a negative, but honestly, it's probably right. Not every business makes money, and you will see this more often if you are looking at small caps or R&D intensive businesses. Sometimes these companies actually don't report revenue at all, so keep that in mind. All right, there you have it. Some of the most frequently asked questions about missing fundamental data explained. Hopefully this was helpful to you. But if you are experiencing other issues with the data, you can always chat with our team live on our website, www.intrinio.com, or submit a support ticket to let us know. Our team will get back to you ASAP with an explanation or a fix. If you are looking for fundamental data, feel free to chat with us as well, or head to our website to sign up for a free trial. Intrinio fundamental data packages include all of this. And a subscription comes with top-notch support, partnership, co-marketing, and more. We make our plans super scalable, so you can start small and risk-free on a monthly bronze plan and upgrade to silver or gold when you are ready. Thanks for listening. Please be sure to like the video and subscribe to our channel to stay on top of the latest trends in fintech and financial data. And as we always say at Intrinio, we can't wait to see what you build with this data.